Have you ever felt it? That subtle, draining exhaustion that comes not from hard work, but from constantly trying to be what others want you to be? What if I told you that the moment you stop this relentless dance of pleasing everyone, something extraordinary, almost unthinkable, begins to happen? They don't just forget you. Some of them start to obsess over you. Not in a fleeting way, but with a deep, almost bewildered fascination. This isn't a trick or a manipulation tactic. This is a profound psychological shift, a hidden law of human dynamics that Carl Jung, the master explorer of the human psyche, understood perhaps better than anyone. Get ready, because we're about to uncover why letting go of the need for approval doesn't lead to loneliness, but to a strange, undeniable, magnetic pull you feel.
We all begin somewhere, don't we? As children, approval is like sunlight. We need it to grow, to feel safe, to understand our place in the world. A smile from a parent, a nod from a teacher, acceptance from our peers, these are the early currencies of our self-worth. And so we learn. We learn to adapt, to mirror, to anticipate what will bring that warmth, that validation. This is natural. It's human. Carl Jung spoke of the persona, the mask we craft to navigate the social world. It's the polite face, the agreeable nod, the version of ourselves that fits in, that gets along, that earns the applause. And for a while, this persona serves us well. It helps us build connections, achieve goals, function in society. But what happens when the mask becomes too tight? What happens when pleasing others shifts from a developmental stage to a default mode of existence? You find yourself saying yes when your entire being screams no. You silence your own opinions, your own desires, to avoid ruffling feathers, to keep the peace, to maintain that fragile sense of being liked. You become a chameleon, constantly shifting your colors to match the expectations of whoever you're with. You might even become incredibly skilled at it, a virtuoso of agreeableness. People praise you for being so easygoing, so accommodating, so selfless. But inside, something begins to wither. A quiet resentment simmers beneath the surface, a feeling of being unseen, unheard, unknown. You're praised for a version of yourself that feels increasingly hollow, increasingly not you. This, my friend, is the golden cage of approval. It looks comfortable, it feels safe, it's adorned with the praise of others, but it's still a cage. Jung knew that an over-identification with the persona at the expense of the true self leads to a profound sense of alienation. You are, in essence, living a borrowed life, performing a script written by the expectations of others. Think about the energy it takes, the constant vigilance, the second-guessing, the fear of saying the wrong thing, of making the wrong move. It's like walking a tightrope day in and day out, terrified of falling into the abyss of disapproval. You might tell yourself it's kindness, it's diplomacy, it's just being a good person. But Jung would urge us to look deeper into the shadow, that part of ourselves where our suppressed truths reside. What fear is driving this relentless need to please? Fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of conflict, fear of not being enough just as you are. Understanding this is the first crucial step, because the people pleaser isn't just giving, they are often seeking something in return, a sense of safety, of worthiness that they haven't yet found within themselves. And the tragic irony, the more you please, the less genuinely respected you often become. and the more trapped you feel. When you engage in chronic people-pleasing, you're unknowingly signing an invisible contract. You, the pleaser, agree to suppress your needs, desires, and true feelings in exchange for acceptance, or at least the absence of conflict. The other person, the pleased, often unconsciously, agrees to accept your sacrifices, your constant accommodation, your endless yeses. It seems like a stable arrangement, doesn't it? But it's a dynamic built on an imbalance of power and a deficit of authenticity. Think about it from the perspective of the pleased. Initially, your agreeableness might be appreciated. It makes their life easier. You're low maintenance, always willing, never a bother. But over time, something shifts. Do they truly respect someone who never has an opinion of their own? Who always defers? Who seems to have no boundaries? Often, without even meaning to, they might start to take you for granted. Your efforts become expected, not appreciated. Your yeses lose their value because a no is never forthcoming. Jung's concept of projection is vital here. As a pleaser, you might be projecting your own need for validation onto others, assuming they need you to be perfectly agreeable to like you. You might also be projecting an idealized image of the good person onto yourself, believing that self-sacrifice is the highest virtue, even when it erodes your soul. Conversely, those you please might project their own needs or expectations onto you. They might see you not as a whole person, but as a utility, a means to an end, someone who fulfills their needs without demanding anything in return. The pleaser, meanwhile, becomes increasingly depleted. You give and give, hoping that one day your sacrifices will be truly seen, truly valued. You hope that by being everything to everyone, you will finally feel secure, loved, and enough. But that day rarely comes. Instead, you feel a growing sense of emptiness. Resentment, that shadow emotion Jung warned us about, begins to build. It's a quiet, insidious poison. You might not even be aware of it consciously, but it manifests as fatigue, irritability, a loss of joy, a feeling of being perpetually misunderstood. The pleased person often remains oblivious to your inner turmoil. Why would they question a dynamic that, on the surface, benefits them? They might even interpret your eventual burnout or passive aggression as you being difficult, further reinforcing your fear that not pleasing leads to negative consequences. This is the cycle, the invisible chains. The pleaser isn't truly connecting, they are managing perceptions. And the pleased aren't truly relating, they are often just receiving. It's a fragile piece, built on unspoken resentments and unfulfilled needs, and it is utterly exhausting for the one doing all the pleasing. Jung would argue that no genuine individuation, no true becoming of the self can occur in such a dynamic. You are perpetually deferring your own growth for the fleeting comfort of others. There comes a point for many where the cost of pleasing becomes too high. It might be a health crisis, a moment of profound disillusionment, or simply the cumulative weight of years of self-neglect. Suddenly the thought of saying yes one more time when you mean no feels unbearable. This is the tremor of truth, the beginning of the unveiling. Deciding to stop people-pleasing is rarely a grand, dramatic gesture. More often, it's a series of small, terrifying acts of courage. It's saying, "No, I can't make it tonight," without a lengthy, apologetic explanation. Stating your opinion, even if it differs from the group. It's setting a boundary, however small, and holding it. And what happens then? The initial reactions can be unsettling. Those who have grown accustomed to your endless accommodation might be confused. What's wrong with you, they might ask, genuinely perplexed. Some might become annoyed, even angry. You've disrupted the unspoken contract, you've withdrawn a service they had come to expect. They might try to guilt you, to manipulate you back into the familiar role. Now you've changed, they might say, and it won't always be a compliment. This is where your own shadow, in the Jungian sense, can rise up to challenge you. Fear of disapproval? The ingrained belief that your worth is tied to your usefulness to others. The guilt of letting people down. These are powerful forces. You might feel an intense urge to revert, to apologize, to smooth things over, to go back to the safety of pleasing. This is the critical juncture. Jung taught that integrating the shadow, acknowledging and accepting these feared parts of ourselves, is essential for wholeness. The part of you that wants to say no, the part that prioritizes your own well-being, the part that is willing to face disapproval for the sake of authenticity, this is not a bad part of you. It is a vital part of you, long suppressed. As you begin to stand your ground, even in small ways, something remarkable starts to happen internally. Yes, there's fear. Yes, there's discomfort. But there's also a flicker of something else, a dot, self-respect, a sense of integrity, the quiet, powerful hum of your own authentic voice, finally being allowed to speak. You realize that the world doesn't end when you stop pleasing everyone. Some people might drift away, and that's okay. Those who were only there for what you could do for them were never truly connected to who you are. But others will pause, they will look at you differently. The absence of your constant striving for their approval creates a vacuum, a space for something new to emerge, and this is where the fascination begins. Why does this shift occur? Why would stopping your people-pleasing ways, an act that might seem like it would lead to isolation, instead spark fascination in others, even a form of obsession? The answer lies in the profound, almost alchemical power of authenticity. Firstly, authenticity is rare. In a world saturated with curated personas, with carefully managed images, someone who stands in their truth, unvarnished and unapologetic, is like a beacon. When you stop trying to be what others want and simply are who you are, you radiate a certain power. It's not an aggressive power, but the quiet strength of self-possession. People are drawn to this, often without knowing why. It's intriguing because it's so uncommon. They sense that you are operating from an internal locus of control, not from a desperate need for external validation. Secondly, self-respect is magnetic. When you set boundaries, when you honor your own needs, when you're willing to say no, even if it disappoints someone, you are demonstrating profound self-respect. This is incredibly attractive, not necessarily in a romantic sense, but in a human sense. People subconsciously register that you value yourself, and if you value yourself, it signals to them that you are indeed valuable. Those who may have previously taken you for granted are now confronted with someone who demands, quietly but firmly, to be treated with consideration. This shift can be disorienting for them, and disorientation often breeds curiosity, a need to understand what has changed. Thirdly, mystery and unpredictability emerge. The people pleaser is predictable. Their responses are almost programmed. They will agree, they will accommodate, they will smooth things over. When you shed this skin, you become less predictable. Others no longer know exactly how you'll react, what you'll say, or what you truly think. This isn't about being deliberately obtuse. It's about being genuinely yourself, which is inherently more complex and nuanced than any persona. This newfound unpredictability creates a space of mystery. They might find themselves wondering about you, thinking about your responses, trying to figure out this new you. This wondering is a form of obsession, a preoccupation with understanding the shift they are witnessing. Fourthly, you challenge their own complacency. Your transformation can act as an unconscious mirror for others. When they see you breaking free from the chains of approval seeking, it might subtly highlight their own areas of inauthenticity, their own compromises, their own fears of disapproval. This can be uncomfortable for them, but also compelling. They might obsess over your change because it forces them to confront things within themselves. Your courage to be authentic can inspire them, or it can make them defensive. But either way, it makes them think. It makes them notice. Carl Jung's concept of individuation is key here. Individuation is the journey of becoming a psychologically whole and distinct individual, separate from collective identities and expectations. When you stop people-pleasing, you are actively engaging in your individuation process. You are differentiating yourself. This journey towards wholeness has an inherent integrity, an inherent pull. Fascinated by those who are courageously becoming themselves, because deep down it's a journey everyone is called to, even if they haven't yet answered that call. The obsession, then, is not about you suddenly becoming irresistible in a superficial way. It's about the profound impact of witnessing someone reclaim their sovereignty, their voice, their very soul. It's a testament to the captivating power of a self that is finally and truly coming alive. So, what is this hidden law that Carl Jung's work illuminates? It's not a mystical incantation or a social trick. It's a deep psychological truth. Genuine connection and lasting influence are born from authentic selfhood, not from manufactured compliance. Jung taught us that the psyche strives for wholeness. This means integrating all parts of ourselves. The persona we show the world, yes, but also the shadow, those disowned parts, the unconscious desires, fears, and potentials. The people-pleaser lives predominantly in the persona, often terrified of what the shadow might reveal if they let their guard down. They fear that if they show their true needs, their anger, their boundaries, their imperfections, they will be rejected. But Jung's insight is that the opposite is often true. It is by courageously acknowledging and integrating our shadow, by becoming more whole, that we become truly compelling. When you stop pleasing, you are, in essence, allowing more of your whole self to be seen. You are saying, this is me with my strengths and my flaws, my yeses and my nos, my light and my shadow. This authenticity is disarmingly powerful. The hidden law suggests that people are not truly drawn to perfection or to constant agreeableness. They are drawn to realness. They are drawn to individuals who have the courage to be themselves, because it gives them permission, even if only subconsciously, to be more real too. When you are anchored in your own truth, you exude a stability and a gravitas that is far more attractive and influential than the anxious energy of someone constantly seeking approval. Think of it this way: The people pleaser is constantly broadcasting a signal of neediness. Please like me, please approve of me. This signal, paradoxically, can repel genuine respect. But the person who has stopped pleasing, who operates from a place of self-acceptance, broadcasts a different signal. I accept myself. I know my worth. This signal is intriguing. It invites curiosity. It commands a different kind of attention. Those who obsess or become fascinated are often reacting to this shift in your energetic broadcast. They are sensing that you have tapped into something fundamental, your own core. They might not be able to articulate it, but they feel the difference. You are no longer a reflection of their expectations. You are a source of your own light. And human beings, as Jung knew, are inherently drawn to sources of genuine light, genuine energy, genuine being. The law is that by prioritizing your own individuation, by becoming more truly yourself, you don't push people away. You recalibrate your relationships. Those who cannot appreciate your authentic self will naturally fall away, making space for those who can and do. And those who remain, or those newly drawn to you, will be fascinated by the strength and integrity of a soul that has chosen itself. This is the deep magic Jung understood. Understanding this hidden law is one thing, living it is another. Breaking free from the deeply ingrained habit of people-pleasing is a journey, not an overnight transformation, but it is possible. Here are some practical anchor points inspired by the wisdom of Jung and the courage of those who have walked this path. First, cultivate self-awareness. Start noticing when you go into pleasing mode. What triggers it? What are you afraid of in those moments? Keep a journal. Pay attention to your body's signals, that knot in your stomach, when you're about to say yes to something you don't want to do. As Jung emphasized, we cannot change what we are not aware of. Awareness is the lantern in the dark. Second, practice setting small boundaries. You don't have to start with a dramatic confrontation. Begin with small, low-stakes situations. Say no to an extra task you don't have time for. State a simple preference. Actually, I'd prefer Italian tonight. Each small act of boundary setting builds your authenticity muscle. It teaches you that you can survive disapproval, and that often people respect clear boundaries more than they resent them. Third, learn to tolerate discomfort, yours and theirs. When you first start changing this pattern, it will feel uncomfortable. You'll feel guilty. You'll worry about what others think. Others might also feel uncomfortable with the new you. This is normal. Don't run from this discomfort. See it as a sign of growth. Jung knew that true psychological development often involves navigating periods of tension and unease as we shed old skins. Fourth, identify your core values. What truly matters to you, independent of anyone else's approval? Integrity, creativity, kindness, the genuine kind, not the pleasing kind, autonomy. When you are clear on your values, they become your compass, guiding your decisions and actions. It becomes easier to say no to things that don't align with your values, and yes to things that do, regardless of external pressure. Fifth, practice self-compassion. You've likely been a people-pleaser for a long time. It's a deeply learned behavior. There will be times you slip back into old patterns. Don't beat yourself up. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and gently guide yourself back to your authentic path. Jung understood the psyche as a complex, often contradictory landscape. Be as kind and understanding with yourself as you have so often been with others. Finally, seek genuine connection, not just approval. As you become more authentic, you'll start to attract people who appreciate the real you. Nurture these connections. Focus on relationships where you feel seen, heard, and accepted for who you are, not for what you do for them. This is the true reward, not making others obsess, but building a life rich with authentic, reciprocal relationships. So, we arrive at a profound understanding. The idea that stopping your people-pleasing will make others obsess over you is in many ways a captivating doorway into a much deeper truth. The real magic isn't about manipulating others' attention. It's about what happens within you when you finally give yourself permission to be fully, unapologetically alive. When you stop chasing approval, you reclaim vast amounts of energy you can now invest in your own passions, your own growth, your own well-being. You begin to trust your own inner voice, that quiet wisdom that has always been there, drowned out by the clamor of external expectations. This journey, as Carl Jung so brilliantly illuminated, is the path of individuation, the courageous act of becoming the unique, whole individual you were always meant to be. The fascination, the obsession from others? Consider it a side effect, a ripple in the pond caused by the powerful stone of your own authenticity being dropped into the waters of the world. They are not obsessing over a tactic. They are captivated by the rare and beautiful sight of an unbound soul, someone who has chosen integrity over approval, truth over comfort, selfhood over servitude. The ultimate reward is not their fleeting attention, but your lasting freedom, your peace of mind, your self-respect. The deep, quiet joy of living a life that is truly, authentically yours. This is the hidden law. This is the profound gift. You are not here to be a reflection of what others want. You are here to be the source of your own light. So, step out of the golden cage, let the mask fall, and watch, not with the aim of making them obsess, but with the quiet confidence of knowing that as you become more you, the right people, the right connections, the right life will inevitably, wonderfully find their way. Your truest power was never in pleasing them. It was always and will always be in being you. Embrace it, live it. The world is waiting in power. Until our paths cross again, hold fast to this enduring wisdom, often attributed to Jung's profound understanding of our potential. I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. Choose wisely. Choose bravely. Choose yourself. The world awaits the unfolding of your truest power.